The cake was still on the table when the lights dimmed. My sister's voice rang out, "We made something special." A projector flickered to life against the restaurant wall. A slideshow. Our best memories. Their laughter filled the air. Pictures of vacations, graduations, birthdays, Sunday barbecues. But not one photo had me in it. Not one. I sat there, smiling like the perfect host, as if it didn't sting like a blade twisting between my ribs. Mom leaned over, her hand brushing mine. "Don't pout," she whispered, still smiling for the crowd. "You know you've always been more of a background type." I just nodded, then excused myself to the bathroom, and in that quiet stall, I pulled out my phone. One email, one attachment, one sentence. Then I slipped it back into my pocket, washed my hands, and returned to the table like nothing had happened. They didn't know I had just lit the fuse. I used to believe family was unshakable. When I was younger, I bent myself into every shape they asked of me. Babysitter, errand runner, emotional sponge. I paid for dinners, covered bills, lent money that never came back. But love was always conditional. My brother's successes were celebrated like royal coronations. My sister's mistakes were brushed aside with laughter. And me, at best, invisible, at worst, mocked. By the time I was 30, I understood. I wasn't family. I was the prop that kept their table from wobbling. Useful, but never cherished. That slideshow, that was just the confirmation carved in neon. The first crack appeared a year earlier. I had stumbled across a document on Dad's desk when I visited. He'd left his office door open. A contract, a land deal, and his signature under a shell company I'd never heard of. Curiosity sharpened into suspicion. I dug deeper, and the picture formed. My family's perfect life was built on fraud. Tax evasion, offshore accounts, shell corporations stacked like Russian dolls. I didn't confront him, didn't confront anyone. I just learned. I memorized. I waited. Because I knew one day they'd hand me the match. That night at the restaurant, they did. After the slideshow, they toasted without me. My name barely left anyone's lips. "Happy birthday," my brother said at last, raising his glass lazily. "You're, what now, 34? Don't worry, you've still got time to do something with yourself." Laughter. Mom's hand patting mine like I was the slow child at the table. That was the moment. The match dropped. My plan was simple. I had already compiled everything: account numbers, contracts, hidden properties, falsified tax returns. A year's worth of digital excavation. But information alone wasn't revenge. Information needed direction. So the email I sent from that bathroom stall wasn't to the IRS. Not yet. It was to their investors. Every friend they bragged about, every business partner who thought they were trustworthy. I sent them the evidence in neat, damning packages. 3 months later, the phone calls started. First came Mom. Her voice shook through the line. "What did you do?" I didn't answer. She begged, she screamed, she even tried crying. I hung up. Then came my brother. "You think you're clever?" he spat. "You think ruining us makes you better than us?" I stayed silent, letting him drown in the panic clawing at his throat. He was always the golden boy, but without Dad's money and Mom's cover-ups, he was just a fraud in an expensive suit. When he realized I wouldn't respond, he broke. His last words before the click, "You'll regret this." He was wrong. The fallout spread fast. Their friends pulled investments overnight. Business partners filed lawsuits. The IRS smelled blood in the water and came circling. The house was sold to cover debts, cars repossessed. My sister moved back in with Mom because her credit collapsed under the weight of co-signed loans. For the first time in my life, they weren't laughing. 3 months to the day after my birthday, I saw them again. Court. They didn't notice me at first, sitting in the back row. Dad shuffled in, thinner, shoulders hunched, his arrogance peeled away like old paint. Mom followed, her makeup caked, her eyes hollow. My brother sat at the defense table, jaw tight, pretending to still have control. But when their eyes finally landed on me, calm, collected, silent, their faces drained of color. They knew. The ghost in the slideshow had come back to haunt them. My revenge wasn't dramatic. No screaming, no confrontation, no confession shouted. They wrote me out of their story, so I wrote the ending of theirs.